Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there? Or maybe you've set your keys down and spent the next 20 minutes retracing your steps. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we get older, little memory lapses can start to feel like everyday occurrences. And while it's completely normal to have the occasional senior moment, many of us quietly wonder, is there anything I can do to keep my mind sharp? The good news is, yes, there absolutely is. And one of the most powerful tools you already have at your fingertips is your plate. That's right. The food you eat can have a major impact on how well your brain functions, especially as you age. This isn't just feel-good advice, it's backed by science. Researchers around the world have been studying the link between nutrition and cognitive health for years, and the evidence keeps pointing to a powerful truth. The right foods can help support memory, protect your brain from age-related decline, and even improve your mood and focus. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Is it too late for me? Let me tell you something. It's never too late to make a positive change. Our brains are more adaptable than we give them credit for, and even small shifts in your diet can have a big impact over time. In this video, we're going to explore the best foods for memory, specifically chosen with older adults in mind. We'll dive into what they are, how they work, and why your brain loves them. Plus, I'll share a few real-life stories and tips on how to make them part of your daily routine. Before we keep going, I'd love your help with something. If you're enjoying this video so far, comment Y below. If not, comment N. It helps me know what's working and what to improve. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Now let's dive deeper. Let's start with one of the most well-known brain-boosting foods out there, blueberries. These tiny little berries are packed with antioxidants, especially a group called anthocyanins. Studies have shown that anthocyanins may delay brain aging and improve memory. One Harvard study found that women who ate 2 or more servings of blueberries and strawberries each week experienced slower rates of cognitive decline by as much as 2.5 years. Isn't that incredible? Just a handful of berries a few times a week could help your brain stay sharper longer. And it's not just theory. I have a friend, Susan, in her early 70s, who started adding blueberries to her oatmeal every morning. She was skeptical at first. After all, how much difference can fruit really make? But a few months in, she noticed something interesting. She wasn't forgetting names as often. She felt more alert during her afternoon walks. Was it only the blueberries? Maybe not, but she felt the difference, and now she swears by them. The best part is, blueberries are easy to add to your routine. Fresh or frozen, on cereal or in smoothies, they're delicious and versatile. Just be sure to choose options without added sugars, especially if you're managing your blood sugar levels. Now let's talk about something a little more unexpected. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and trout. These types of fish are high in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, which is a major building block of the brain. DHA makes up a large portion of the brain's gray matter, and it plays a vital role in maintaining healthy brain cells and reducing inflammation. One landmark study published in the journal Neurology found that older adults with higher levels of omega-3s had larger brain volumes and better cognitive function than those with lower levels. That's not just good for memory, it's good for your overall brain health. I remember talking to a retired teacher named George who made it a habit to eat salmon at least twice a week. He'd joke that his brain food helped him win trivia night at the senior center. But behind the humor was something real. He believed in taking care of his brain the same way he took care of his heart. And the science supports that mindset. If you're not a fan of fish, don't worry, there are alternatives. You can get omega-3s from flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, and algae-based supplements. The key is consistency. It's not about one meal. It's about the pattern of your eating habits over time. Here's another delicious and brain-loving option, dark chocolate. Now I know what you're thinking. Finally, something fun on this list. But we're not talking about just any chocolate. It has to be at least 70% cocoa to provide those powerful flavonoids that have been shown to boost blood flow to the brain, improve memory, and even enhance mood. A study published in Nature Neuroscience found that older adults who consumed a high flavonol diet had improved memory performance, particularly in the area of the brain known as the dentate gyrus, which is associated with age-related memory decline. Now, moderation is key. A A small square or two of dark chocolate a few times a week is enough. You don't need a whole bar. In fact, too much sugar can cancel out the benefits. But when enjoyed mindfully, it can be both a treat and a brain boost. So we've covered blueberries, fatty fish, and dark chocolate, all delicious, all powerful. But what's even more exciting is how these foods work together when you build them into a balanced, brain-supporting diet. In the next section, we'll talk about some of the lesser-known memory-enhancing foods, like a certain spice that's been used for centuries in traditional medicine and is now being validated by science for its brain-boosting powers. Plus, we'll explore how what you don't eat might be just as important as what you do. Stick with me. This journey into better brain health is just getting started. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Alright, let's get back to where we left off. We've talked about the benefits of blueberries, fatty fish, and dark chocolate. Now let's dig into some lesser-known but incredibly powerful foods that can give your memory and overall brain health a real boost. Have you ever heard of turmeric? This golden spice has been used for centuries in traditional Indian and Asian medicine, and modern science is finally catching up. The magic compound in turmeric is called curcumin, and it's been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier, a rare and important ability for any compound that's meant to influence brain health. Curcumin is a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant, and studies suggest it may help reduce the buildup of amyloid plaques, which are associated with Alzheimer's disease. In fact, a small study published in the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry found that participants who took curcumin supplements twice a day for 18 months experienced significant improvements in memory and attention compared to those who took a placebo. Now, I'm not saying turmeric is a magic cure, but it's a pretty exciting addition to your spice rack. My neighbor, Ellie, swears by her afternoon golden milk ritual. It's a warm drink made with turmeric, almond milk, cinnamon, and a dash of black pepper, which helps your body absorb curcumin. She says it helps her wind down, and who knows, it may be giving her brain a little lift too. If you're more of a food person than a tea person, turmeric can be sprinkled into soups, roasted veggies, or even scrambled eggs. A little goes a long way, both in flavor and in health benefits. Now let's move on to a staple you probably already have in your pantry: nuts, especially walnuts. Walnuts are unique because they contain a high concentration of DHA, the same type of omega-3 fatty acid found in fatty fish. They also have polyphenol, vitamin E, and antioxidants that support overall brain function. In a long-term study conducted by UCLA, researchers found that adults who consumed more walnuts performed significantly better on cognitive tests. What's more, walnuts may help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, two processes linked to age-related cognitive decline. And let me tell you, walnuts are one of the easiest foods to add to your routine. Keep a small jar of them on your counter or in your bag. Sprinkle them on your salad or yogurt. One small handful a day can be a brain-friendly snack that's both satisfying and smart. Let's take a quick look at leafy greens. You know, the kale, spinach, collards, and Swiss chard types. They're rich in vitamin K, lutein, folate, and beta-carotene, all of which have been linked to slower cognitive decline. A study out of Rush University in Chicago found that people who ate at least one serving of leafy greens per day had brains that functioned like they were 11 years younger compared to those who rarely ate them. Now, I know leafy greens can be a bit of a love-it-or-leave-it food, but there are ways to make them more appealing. Blend spinach into a smoothie, you won't even taste it. Sauté kale with garlic and olive oil until it's crispy. Or try adding greens to your soup, sandwich, or omelet. The key is to make them easy and enjoyable, not a chore. And speaking of olive oil, let's talk about one of the foundational ingredients in the Mediterranean diet, often referred to as one of the best diets for brain health. Extra virgin olive oil is full of monounsaturated fats and antioxidants, which help protect blood vessels and reduce inflammation in the brain. The Mind diet, which is a combination of the Mediterranean and DASH diets, specifically emphasizes olive oil as a primary fat source. One study from the University of Bordeaux even linked higher consumption of olive oil with better visual memory and verbal fluency in older adults. My Aunt Maria, who's in her 80s and still sharp as a tack, swears by her homemade vinaigrette made with olive oil, lemon juice, and herbs. She drizzles it over everything: salads, steamed veggies, grilled chicken. It's a simple habit, but one that may be doing her brain a lot of good. Let's not forget about eggs, a breakfast staple that's full of choline, a nutrient essential for brain development and memory. Choline helps produce acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter involved in mood and memory. According to research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, people with higher choline intakes scored better on cognitive performance tests. Eggs also contain vitamin B12 and healthy fats, both of which support brain health. Now, eggs used to get a bad rap because of cholesterol concerns, but recent studies have shown that for most people, moderate egg consumption is perfectly healthy and even beneficial. So whether you like them scrambled, boiled, or made into an omelet with spinach and mushrooms, eggs can be a smart and satisfying choice for your brain. At this point, you might be wondering, how do I put all of this together without feeling overwhelmed? That's a great question. And in the next part, we'll talk about just that. I'll walk you through how to build simple, balanced meals that include these brain-boosting foods, how to make changes even if you're on a tight budget, and how to handle common obstacles like picky eaters, cooking fatigue, or dietary restrictions. Plus, we'll dive into how emotional well-being and social habits interact with nutrition, and why memory isn't just about what you eat, but also how you live. So if you're ready to make these changes stick and build a lifestyle that supports your brain in every way, don't go anywhere. We're just getting to the good part. Let's pick up where we left off, because knowing which foods support memory is one thing, but turning that knowledge into daily habits? That's where the real transformation happens. So how do we make these brain-boosting foods a regular part of our lives, especially when we're juggling other health issues, limited energy, or even just a lifetime of different habits? Well, the key is to keep it simple and sustainable. You don't need to overhaul your entire pantry overnight. Start small, one food, one swap, one meal at a time. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, John, recently turned 70. He's always been a meat and potatoes kind of guy, nothing fancy, and certainly no superfoods. But after forgetting an old friend's name at a reunion, he got nervous. His doctor ruled out anything serious, but gently suggested he think about his diet. So John started small. He swapped his usual butter for extra virgin olive oil. Then he added a few walnuts to his cereal. Eventually, he got brave enough to toss a handful of spinach into his spaghetti sauce. A year later, not only is his memory sharper, but he says he feels clearer, more alert, and even a bit more confident. And that's the beauty of it. Tiny, consistent choices can make a world of difference over time. Now, I know that some of you may be thinking, this all sounds great, but what if I'm on a tight budget? That's a very real concern. But here's the good news. Many of the foods we've talked about, like eggs, spinach, oats, and even frozen berries, are surprisingly affordable. In fact, frozen fruits and vegetables often contain just as many nutrients as fresh ones, because they're picked and frozen at peak ripeness. You don't need to spend a fortune at a specialty health store. A bag of frozen blueberries can last weeks and be added to yogurt, oatmeal, or smoothies. If you're buying on a budget, focus on the staples: eggs, canned tuna or salmon, wild caught if possible, bulk nuts, and leafy greens that are in season or on sale. You don't need a dozen fancy ingredients. Just a few consistent choices can nourish your brain beautifully. And let's talk about one of the biggest challenges I hear. I just don't feel like cooking anymore. I get it. After years of preparing meals for a family, or now living alone, the motivation can wear thin. If that sounds familiar, here's an idea: batch cooking. Spend one afternoon a week making a few simple meals you can portion out. A big pot of vegetable soup with turmeric and kale. A tuna salad made with olive oil and chopped walnuts. A veggie egg bake that you can slice and reheat throughout the week. Make it easy on yourself. Your brain will thank you. Now here's something a little different to consider. While nutrition plays a vital role in brain health, it doesn't act alone. Your emotional well-being and social connections also have a huge impact on your memory. And believe it or not, the foods you eat can support those areas too. Let me explain. Foods rich in omega-3s like salmon and walnuts don't just support memory, they also help regulate mood. Choline from eggs supports neurotransmitters involved in mood and focus. Even dark chocolate, in moderation, can trigger the release of serotonin, the feel-good chemical in your brain. So eating for your brain isn't just about preventing forgetfulness. It's about feeling good, emotionally and mentally. And when you feel good, you're more likely to engage with others, stay active, and keep your mind stimulated. It's all connected. I once met a woman named Grace at a community center cooking class. She was 76, had recently moved into a new apartment after losing her husband, and was feeling isolated and down. She came to the class just to get out of the house. But she ended up discovering that preparing new meals, even simple ones, sparked joy for her again. She started inviting neighbors over for tea, trying new recipes, and even sharing extras with her grandkids. And guess what? She told me, I started cooking to help my memory, but it brought my heart back to life too. Food has that power, not just to nourish us physically, but to reconnect us with ourselves and with others. Now, if you've ever struggled with sticking to a new way of eating, you're not alone. Maybe you start strong, but after a few days or weeks, you slip back into old habits. That's human. But here's the thing, progress doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being persistent. Try setting one small goal each week. Maybe this week, you add spinach to one meal a day. Next week, you swap one snack for a handful of walnuts. The week after, you try cooking with turmeric. Write it down. Celebrate each step. You might also find it helpful to keep a simple food and memory journal. Just a few notes each day. What you ate, how you felt, what you remembered clearly. Over time, you may start to notice patterns. And that kind of awareness can be incredibly motivating. Here's another powerful habit: eat mindfully. Turn off the TV, sit at the table, and savor your food. Research shows that mindful eating not only improves digestion, but also helps your brain form stronger memory connections by anchoring you in the present moment. Even one mindful meal a day can make a difference. And don't forget, sharing meals with others, whether it's a neighbor, a friend, or even a video call with family, stimulates conversation and connection, both of which are crucial for brain health. As we start to bring everything together, I want you to know this: it's never too late. I've seen people in their 60s, 70s, even their 80s start making small changes and see meaningful improvements in how they think, remember, and feel. And in the final part of this video, we're going to recap everything we've learned, offer a few last science-backed tips, and give you some easy, inspiring ways to get started today. No pressure, no perfection, just small steps toward a sharper, more vibrant you. So stick with me, because the final stretch is where we turn knowledge into action, and action into lifelong vitality. So here we are, at the final stretch of our journey through memory-boosting foods, and how they can genuinely support your brain as you age. Let's take a moment to breathe that in. You've made it this far because you care, not just about remembering things more clearly, but about living more fully. That says a lot about you. We've talked about so many powerful, practical changes. From omega-3 rich salmon and walnuts, to leafy greens, blueberries, turmeric, and even humble eggs and oats. Your kitchen is already a treasure chest for brain health. Maybe some of these foods are already on your plate. Maybe you're just starting to explore them. Either way, you're on the right path. Remember John, who started with a simple swap from butter to olive oil, or Grace, who found joy again in cooking and conversation. Their stories are a beautiful reminder that these aren't just ingredients. They're little steps toward better health, clearer thinking, and a more connected life. Now, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by all the options, that's completely normal. The truth is, you don't need to change everything overnight. Start with one or two things that feel manageable. Maybe it's replacing your afternoon cookie with a few squares of dark chocolate and almonds, or tossing a handful of spinach into your scrambled eggs, or keeping frozen berries in the freezer for easy smoothies. The key is to take that first step. Small changes stick when they're easy, enjoyable, and done consistently. And if you're looking for a bit of inspiration, here's a little daily routine that many people have found helpful. You can think of it as a memory morning start. Breakfast, oatmeal topped with walnuts and blueberries. A drizzle of honey, maybe a sprinkle of cinnamon. Pair it with a boiled egg for protein and choline. A lunch, a leafy green salad with olive oil, some grilled salmon or canned tuna, and a bit of avocado. Add turmeric to your dressing if you like. Snack, a piece of dark chocolate and a handful of mixed nuts, or even just a spoonful of peanut butter on apple slices. A dinner, a veggie stir-fry with turmeric, garlic, and olive oil. Maybe some brown rice or quinoa on the side. Even just picking one of those meals to start your day can be a brain-friendly win. Now here's one more thing I want to leave you with, a scientific insight that stuck with me ever since I read it. A study from the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that older adults who followed a Mediterranean-style diet, rich in vegetables, healthy fats, nuts, and fish, showed slower cognitive decline and improved memory performance over time. What's fascinating is that the biggest benefits were seen in people who made these changes later in life, not just those who had followed the diet for decades. That tells us it's never too late to start making a difference. Your brain is adaptable, resilient, and responsive to nourishment, no matter your age. And the benefits go beyond memory. People often report feeling less foggy, more energetic, and more optimistic after a few weeks of eating this way. That's the body and the brain working in harmony. So as you finish this video, I hope you feel empowered, not just with information, but with the belief that you can take control of your cognitive health. You can age with clarity and confidence, and you can find joy in the process. Let's quickly recap the key takeaways, just as a gentle reminder of how simple this really can be. Focus on whole, real foods, fruits, veggies, healthy fats, and lean proteins. Prioritize brain-friendly nutrients, omega-3s, antioxidants, fiber, vitamins like B12 and E, and compounds like choline and curcumin. Start small, add, don't subtract. Make it enjoyable. Keep things budget-friendly with frozen produce and pantry staples like eggs, oats, and canned fish. Don't eat alone if you don't have to. Share meals, laugh, engage. Social connection strengthens your memory too. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. You're not just feeding your brain, you're feeding your future. Now, I'd love to hear from you. We're building a community here, a space where you can share your questions, your wins, even your favorite recipes. So, we'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Here's to living your best life at any age. From my heart to yours, thank you for watching, thank you for caring, and thank you for choosing to grow. Until next time, keep nourishing that beautiful mind of yours.